Is Roger Clemmens going to get into the Hall? When Roger Clemmens left Boston, he was basically done as a pitcher. He had been let go because he wasn't throwing hard anymore and he wasn't doing anything to be effective. Dan Duquette was the general manager of the Red Sox at that time and decided to let him go, and he came to Toronto. And all of a sudden he became a good pitcher again. And he got big and he got strong, and and he's never admitted to doing anything of the performance-enhancing drugs, but there are not many people in baseball that doubt that he did it. And to be that age and have that much of a turnaround in your career and win 2 Cy Youngs in back-to-back seasons, it's a little suspect. That's a very difficult subject. We've always had something in the game. Buck O'Neill was the manager of the Kansas City Monarchs. Satchel Paige pitched for the Kansas City Monarchs. And Buck told me personally, one day, Satchel Paige came into his office and said, "Buck, I can't pitch today. My shoulder's hurting." And this old-time trainer happened to walk in the room in the middle of that conversation. Said, "What's going on?" And Buck O'Neill said, "Satch said he can't pitch today." I said, "Oh yeah? Come with me." And he pitched a complete game, 9-inning game. And I said, "Buck, what did he do?" He says, "I don't know, but I didn't care." But there's always been something, and always, when I was in the game and when I first got to Major Leagues in 1969, trainers carried amphetamines in their pocket. And you would feel down or be tired or have a long trip, they'd give you an amphetamine and you feel great. And now we found out that wasn't so good for you. And that was probably a genesis from World War II, where a lot of the pilots were given that stuff when they were flying so many flights and everything. We didn't know any better about the science of it, and now we do. But, it's hard to say. There have been more pitchers suspended for PED use than position players. Obviously, there were more pitchers than position players because you have to have 12 of them, but it's a tough time. But I don't think anybody, Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, Palmeiro, McGuire, any of those people should be included in the Hall of Fame. That's my personal opinion. And it's going to be, it's just like baseball. You're going to have everybody arguing different points. I mean, Ty Cobb, everybody raves about what a maniac he was and how bigoted he was and everything else. And here he is in the Hall of Fame. And there's been other people that have had character issues and different problems. But like in Pete Rose's case, he was admitted to gambling, and he was gambling on the game. There's no doubt about it. And if you know a gambler, they gamble on everything. They don't just gamble on horses. They're going to gamble on basketball games and baseball games and red games. They're just going to do it. They like the action.
It is definitely, we could have an hour session on that subject alone because it is so complicated. I think what you're saying is does come down to just your personal opinion, really.
Yes. Who's going to say who's right or wrong? I mean, right. We had a tremendous cocaine epidemic in the 80s. And Doc Ellis talks about pitching a game on LSD.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Anybody can do that. They're pretty special.
It's true.
Doc Ellis also told his manager one day, he said, "I'm going to hit every one of those Reds that come up to the plate." Yes. And he hit 7 of them in a row before they took him out.
The great part of that anecdote, I think, is he hit the first 3 and then he hit, and they were all quite upset where he hit, and then he hit Pete Rose in the shoulder, and Pete, before he ran to first, picked up the ball and rolled it back to Doc on the mound. It's classic.
It was a different era for sure.
Yeah.